They came from 4,000 light-years away. They had mapped every galaxy, solved the mystery of dark matter, built ships that bend space itself. And when they finally arrived at Earth, they were terrified. Not of our weapons, not of our armies, not of our nuclear bombs. They were terrified of us. Of what we are, of what we do, of something no other species in the entire known universe had ever evolved. Something so dangerous, so unpredictable, so cosmically insane that the aliens had a word for it in their language before they even landed. They called it, roughly translated, the madness that builds. We call it being human. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you will never see yourself the same way again. Let's set the scene. Imagine you are an alien intelligence, advanced, logical, ancient. Your civilization is 200,000 years old. You have seen stars born and die. You have visited 47 other planets with life. Most of them bacteria, some slime, a few insect-level creatures scratching at rocks. And then you point your telescopes at this tiny blue marble, third rock from an unremarkable star in a boring corner of the Milky Way. And you see us. At first, you think there's been an error in your instruments. Because this species, this fragile, squishy, short-lived species with no claws, no armor, no venom, has somehow cracked the atom, left its own planet, connected its entire civilization through an invisible web of information, and is actively arguing with each other about it online. You run the calculations again, you check the data. And the data says this species has been doing complex tool use for 300,000 years. That's nothing, that is cosmically embarrassing. Your civilization was building quantum reactors while humans were still figuring out fire. And yet here they are. Here is what the aliens don't understand, and what most humans don't understand about themselves. We are not the strongest species, not even close. A gorilla can rip a car door off its hinges, we cannot. We are not the fastest. A cheetah covers ground at 70 miles per hour, we jog. We are not the most resilient. There are tardigrades, microscopic animals that can survive the vacuum of space, volcanic heat, and the radiation of a nuclear blast. We get a sunburn in 20 minutes. By every physical metric, humans should not exist. We should have been eaten, we should have frozen, we should have starved. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that makes us Earth's secret weapon. We don't accept reality. Every other creature on this planet, and apparently every creature in this galaxy, looks at the world and adapts to it. Humans look at the world and say, no, I don't like this, let me change it. A wolf in the cold grows thicker fur. A human in the cold says, what if I wore something? What if I built a box that was warm inside? What if I captured fire? And then, and this is the part the aliens can't process, we share the idea. We tell others, we write it down, we build on it. We take one person's crazy idea and we hand it to the next generation like a torch. Every other species starts from zero every generation. Humans don't. We accumulate. Think about what that means for a second. When you flip a light switch tonight, you are using the work of Michael Faraday, who discovered electromagnetism in 1831. You are standing on the shoulders of Nikola Tesla, Thomas Edison, and hundreds of engineers you have never heard of, who spent their entire lives making that moment, your moment, possible. You didn't earn that knowledge, you inherited it. Every human alive today is walking around with 300,000 years of accumulated genius in their pocket. No alien species ever developed this, because no alien species ever developed the combination of things required for it. Language complex enough to describe abstract ideas, curiosity aggressive enough to keep asking why, and this is the wild one, ego. Yes, ego. The burning, irrational need to be remembered, to leave a mark, to matter. Scientists working on problems they will never live to see solved. Artists painting masterpieces for people not yet born. Engineers designing rockets to planets they will never visit. The aliens don't have this, their psychology is optimized for survival, they do what works, they repeat what succeeds. They don't dream. We dream pathologically. Now let's get back to our aliens. They have been observing Earth for about 200 years. long enough to watch us invent the steam engine, electricity, the airplane, the nuclear bomb, the internet, and the smartphone, all within the same geological blink of an eye. They call an emergency council. The rough translation of what they say is this species is not following the pattern. Every civilization they had ever encountered followed the same arc: slow growth, resource exploitation, conflict, collapse, or best case scenario, a long stable plateau where the species reaches a kind of equilibrium and stops innovating. Humans don't plateau. Every time it looks like we've hit a ceiling, we break through it. We ran out of space on land, so we built cities upward, then underground, then started looking at the ocean floor. We ran out of answers in the physical world, so we invented philosophy, mathematics, and eventually quantum physics to find answers in realms we can't even see. We ran out of planet, so we left it. The aliens look at all of this and they don't see ambition. They see hunger. A hunger that cannot be satisfied, a hunger that looks less like evolution and more like a glitch. And glitches in their experience are unpredictable. And unpredictable is the most dangerous thing in the universe. But here's where it gets even stranger. The aliens dig deeper, they analyze our art, our music, our stories. And they find something they have no category for. They find that humans regularly, voluntarily, hurt themselves for others. A parent throws themselves in front of a car to save their child. A stranger dives into a freezing river to rescue someone they've never met. A soldier falls on a grenade to protect his unit. In the alien framework, this is a malfunction. Self-preservation is the first law of every living thing. Every creature on every planet in every corner of the galaxy acts to preserve itself above all else. Except humans. Humans have something the aliens genuinely cannot explain: self-sacrifice. And connected to that hope, humans endure things that should break them: famine, war, loss, grief so heavy it should flatten a person into the ground. And somehow they get back up. Not because they know it will be okay, but because they believe it might be. That irrational, stubborn, beautiful belief in a future that doesn't exist yet. The aliens have a word for this too. They call it the defect that saves. Because in every crisis scenario their models run: plague, climate collapse, asteroid, resource war, humans are the only species whose behavior improves under existential pressure. We cooperate more when threatened, we innovate faster when desperate, we find meaning in suffering. We are the only species that turns pain into purpose. So what is it the aliens actually fear? Not our weapons, not our intelligence. There are smarter species out there technically. What they fear is our variance. Every other civilization is predictable. You know what they want: resources, safety, stability. You can model them, you can negotiate with them, you can understand them. Humans want everything. We want to live forever, and we write poetry about death. We want peace, and we have generated more than 14,000 wars in recorded history. We want to destroy the planet, and we have millions of people dedicating their lives to saving it. We contain contradictions. We are capable of the greatest cruelty and the greatest compassion, sometimes in the same hour. This is not a weakness. This is our superpower. Because a species that contains every extreme is a species that cannot be anticipated, cannot be cornered, cannot be defeated by any single strategy. You think you understand humans, and then we surprise you. We surprise ourselves. Here's what I want you to sit with. We spend so much time talking about what's wrong with humanity: the violence, the greed, the short-sightedness, the way we treat each other, the way we treat our planet. And those things are real, I'm not dismissing them. But imagine, just for a moment, seeing yourself through alien eyes. Seeing a species that crawled out of the mud with nothing. No wings, no fangs, no armor, just a big overactive brain and an insane belief that things could be better. A species that looked at darkness and decided to invent light. That looked at distance and invented flight. That looked at silence and invented music. That looked at death and invented meaning. You are the descendant of every human who refused to give up, every ancestor who survived the ice age, the plague, the war, the famine, and still found a reason to have children, to build something, to hope. You carry 300,000 years of survival in your DNA. You are not a coincidence. You are the product of the most extraordinary chain of endurance in the known universe. So the next time you feel small and we all feel small, remember what the aliens see when they look at Earth. They don't see a weak planet. They see a volatile one. They see a species that has no business being here, and yet here we are. Still building, still dreaming, still getting up after every collapse. Still writing music no one asked us to write. Still falling in love in the middle of disasters. Still sending golden records into space with our songs on them just in case someone out there wants to know that we existed, that we felt things, that we mattered. That's not a glitch. That's not a defect. That is the most profound thing in this galaxy. And it lives in you. The aliens discovered Earth's secret weapon. It was never the bombs, it was never the technology. It was you. It was always you.